Five, or five, three, two, one.
Today on Van Helsing, we talk about what's being a human again. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
When I'm human again, only human
Yes,
again.
hello
Poised
everybody.
and
Welcome
polished
back
and
to
gleaming with
AFTERBUZZ
charm.
TV,
I'll be
the most
courting
fitting song
again,
for what happens
chic
in
and
this episode.
sporting again.
Absolutely. We're here doing the Van Helsing After Show, Season 1, Episode 3, Stay Inside. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. You can follow me on Twitter at SeraphiniTV. Joining me, I have...
Hey guys, I'm Andrew Mena, Real Life Teapot, and you can find me on Twitter at Andrew Mena and on Instagram at the Andrew Mena.
You might want to mute that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My media is playing, guys.
Technology.
So sorry. I have the chat open. So if you guys want to chat with us, anyways, my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. And like I said, any comments on the show, feel free to chime in the chat. And then afterwards, definitely leave us comments on the video if you are not watching this live.
Absolutely. So this episode, Stay Inside, where I felt like a lot of it happened outside.
There was a good percentage that was outside.
There was a lot
I think
outside.
it was like
Well,
50-50.
Yeah, I guess going to the generator was inside, but it was outside the main space.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in between there?
But your overall quick thoughts of this episode. Andrew, let's start with you.
So this episode, like a couple things happens in it, and it takes a while for them to get there. But we get, like, there's a lot of little Easter eggy bits of information that I feel like are kind of peppered throughout. And they're just taking their sweet time making this soup of vampires that we're just trying to process. So I have a lot of specific things to say as we go.
Okay, Kari.
I enjoyed it. I'm glad things are building, but it's very slow paced of those important things. Like the thing with the doctor, which we'll get to, could have happened like
we're
way
just staring
earlier.
at the screen going like this.
I was like,
"Come
let's
on,
do it.
That's
do
we're,
the thing.
we're waiting for it.
Come on, guys.
But you like your main characters enough that you'll go along with it.
You'll live with them for a little while. while they
Yeah.
make the right choices.
And
You
we're
know, right?
And we're still learning this world, so I'm like, all right, fine. I don't mind if you kind of lay out the breadcrumbs, but I want to pick up the pace a little bit more.
Yes. I agree. It was a little bit slow paced. I felt like more of a slow burn. And I don't want to be like the audience where we're already 10 minutes ahead of the main characters.
Right.
Yes.
Because I don't want to feel like we're smarter than them, or granted, we might just be very intuitive.
That's true. We're just brilliant
Yes.
We're like,
people.
just let's go. It was like it's that slow burn where we know what's gonna happen, but I hope not every episode is like that, and I hope there are some twists and turns that we'll see
Right.
that, like, or we won't see. That'll really take us by surprise. But yeah, let's get into it then. Axel and Vanessa, they pretty much go on this mission because during this fight with John, the a-hole,
Yeah.
his
Just
wife
the dude.
his wife returns and the feeders have her.
Right.
Unfortunately, she's tied up. But what did you think of John during this moment, like handing over Vanessa? Hey, you can have her.
I mean, the same thing we've thought of him every moment, which is that he's a garbage man. I mean, the first episode he just like goes crazy and starts like beating on the like kitchen utensils with that pipe, and you're just like, all right, dude, calm down. Like,
Anger management.
yeah,
Yes,
what do you like?
yes.
Even if you are trying to get it across to like this other manly man, like you need his help, like that is the worst way to go about it. I'm gonna threaten you, guy who has like automatic weapons at his disposal. That seems smart. Just like, that guy's not smart or forward thinking. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, he's just bad way to go about everything. And I mean, I guess he doesn't really know that Vanessa's important, but I'm glad he's ready to give up somebody. Like, he could have apologized, been like, hey, I'm sorry, but I want my wife back. Because I've seen that before in shows where it's like, it's an exchange thing and they at least apologize of like, hey, nothing personal, but I want to save my loved one.
Right.
Or he should have been rushing out there on his own, which he didn't really seem to even think to do that.
That's what he wanted to do the first episode. He's just like, well, just let me back
But if
up
she's
there, man.
literally outside right now,
Yeah,
it's a
they're-
bad situation.
Yeah.
But at least he could have been like, I'm going to do it myself anyways.
Yeah, I'm gonna or I'm
Yeah.
gonna die alongside her or something. Like
Yeah.
even like I
Yeah.
would
Yeah,
have
no-
respected him more for that.
Yeah.
No
Yes.
altruism involved on
He just
his
grabs her
end.
and is
No.
like, nope, you're gonna be my bargaining chip.
Yeah.
But what did you think of Axel? Pretty much his rebuttal towards John saying, hey, it was pretty much your fault. You know, the moment that you let her go was like she died. And she's dead the moment you let her
In
go.
this world, absolutely.
I mean,
I think Axel was in the right.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that is a pretty shitty thing of him to say, like, to the guy. Like, and also, like, I don't really think that you can assign, like, blame to anyone's death, particularly in this world. Like, it's just the nature of world with vampires. Like, you could also, like, go as far to blame all of the vampires, or, like, your parents for birthing you into this world in this time period. It's like, well, if only my parents were my grandparents, I'd be fine, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think tossing blame around is hard and is useless in a world like this.
Or if you really wanted to,
ultimately.
if you really wanted to save her, you shouldn't have gone in the place at the first time and stayed outside looking for her.
Right.
Because that's
Exactly.
the other, like, once you've gone inside, you've essentially given up looking.
Absolutely. And I mean, he obviously had given up at that point. Like, was only thinking of himself at that point.
Yeah,
That's why
it's
he got
his
in.
own safety.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But-
that causes the fight between Axel and John. They knock over the wind turbine that powered everything, and pretty much was the sole reason of their safety and why they're still alive.
Can we just talk about for 2 seconds the fact that in the future, in the zombie apocalypse, or in the feral vampire apocalypse, we still have renewable energy sources, you guys.
No,
We're
solar
killing it.
Progressive.
panel wouldn't matter. Yeah.
Solar
But I'm
panel
surprised he
can't do
didn't
it.
set up. I mean, I don't know how hard those are to find or acquire in that world, but maybe you would have had an extra one as backup.
Well-
but that is great. Yes,
Yeah.
the future world. They are
We still have
Good
renewable
job,
energy.
Ingenuitive,
Axel.
yes.
Very, very green of you.
yes.
And I actually believe it with Axel's background, him being a Marine.
Yeah.
It leads us to believe that he is very resourceful and innovative, and
Capable,
he's
certainly.
smart like that. So I was like, I completely believed it.
Yeah,
Very
he, like,
functional. It's one of those things of like, we need to do this. It has a purpose. It's,
yeah, when he's underwater getting that piece from the engine, I was like, gee, okay, this is all right.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right,
Yes.
sure.
So they pretty much have to get a generator from like an old car piece.
Yeah, it looked like he pulled out like a alternator or something out of it,
Yeah.
like some car-looking
Some
piece, you know.
engine from an old
Some-
car piece.
Some metal bit.
Submerged in water. How convenient or inconvenient was that?
and it hasn't rusted over or any damage from the water.
Convenient to shoot, inconvenient like story-wise, because that would, like, as a person, like I grew up around the ocean and stuff, and that still terrifies me of like diving to get things, to acquire things. The idea of other, like, and he also mentions
That they could be underwater.
he mentions
what?
that he's seen things. He mentions that he's seen things that aren't quite vampires, you know, that are something different. You know, so he drops that Easter egg without
Water
ever,
vampires.
Yeah, water vampires
Can
are
they
like
breathe underwater?
Nosferatu creatures.
They don't need to breathe.
Yeah.
They're dead.
Yeah, that's right. So like there
So,
could
yeah.
be.
So
So there's that.
yeah,
Okay, but
exactly. And
would-
nothing came of that yet. So
Yeah.
we're waiting to see
Yes.
something come of that.
What do you think of Vanessa during this moment where the vampires come and attack her? And she has
wasted
her
Gun, like,
all-
gun in the left hand, literally all over the place,
Wasted all of her
wasting
ammo
resources.
like a goob.
I mean, even if you've never shot a gun anytime, I think you are overly cautious because you're not sure.
Right.
Not just willy-nilly like, "Rah! Let's waste all of the bullets."
Yeah.
Literally. And, but from this moment, I learned a lot because it's very deceiving. Last episode, it seems like she can fight hand-to-hand combat.
Right.
This one, she lost
like a
like all
leaf.
logic of that. She knew how to do that, and she just got scared. And then she lets them get close enough to bite her.
Maybe
Yeah.
subconsciously knows she's safe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I was very frustrated when she was shooting the guns and wasting her ammo, and like you're shooting all the way across the room. Wait
Yeah.
till
Wait
you
till
know,
it gets closer.
close
Yeah.
enough. You know, like the Batter Bunkle Hill.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
wait till you see the whites of their eyes. You shoot when they're close.
Yes.
History should teach you, Vanessa.
Yes.
Exactly.
Come on.
Shoot. But I was just very surprised that she didn't get into her hand-to-hand combat mode.
Right. No, I was surprised too. It felt like we had a different version of Vanessa this episode, who was very like
Yeah.
passive and like really unaccepting of things.
And where's my man to
like-
help me? Because
Yeah, like and very kind of whiny in this episode. She's like, like what? Like even she
I
says
wouldn't
to
say
the doc.
whiny. I'd say unsure.
I mean, but it's
not
so
whiny.
wishy-washy to me. It's like this moment where she like talks to the doctor, who has like also said almost nothing to this point, and she's like, "What am I? Do you know?" And it's like, you might as well ask like the wall. Like she's not gonna talk to you.
Oh, I was gonna say back to the early episode. A reason the guy would keep Axel would keep the doctor around is if you're by yourself for that long,
Oh, you'll go crazy.
it helps to have someone to talk to, even if they're not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about that really, but that was something I was thinking about later. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
That's probably another reason. So that's
She's
why she's
basically his
talking to the
Wilson.
doctor. Vanessa talks to the doctor because even if she can't really answer, it feels better to ask
Cathartic.
a person thing instead of like,
All right.
hey, Wall.
That's fair.
It's cathartic. I mean, that's why Wilson was around in Castaway.
It's true.
Yes,
she's
exactly.
she's Vanessa's
Just
Wilson.
need
Yep.
Yeah.
you
That
need
makes
a
sense.
third party who can just be there to listen.
Okay.
They're just really good listeners.
We
then.
also have this element of like all vampires, or at least feeders, seem to be able to talk. Like why?
Ish.
Some.
I mean, they seem like not ferals necessarily. Like I don't hear ferals.
Yeah, I
saying,
don't
like,
think
So is
the
it
ferals
like
kind.
feral is like the very
Feral
I think
is
Feral's the
zombies.
bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And
Then
then you have
it's
the feeders.
feeders.
And then you have the elites.
Yeah.
Right. Three-tier.
It's
It's a
that
three-tier
bureaucratic
system.
system.
We
Right.
did talk about this a little bit, but I wanted to. What do you guys think of? So if it is more like, so far it definitely is a virus. So then they're vampire like.
Do we know it's a virus though?
Well, the way it transmits in a way is like a virus. If we're gonna go like thinking of it
We're
visually.
gonna think of it scientifically.
Like scientifically ish, because I'm totally a scientist. No, but if it is something like you can only transmit it by biting them, it's like a virus. But the thing is like how their body changes with it. So that's maybe why they're not so like vampire-y, because I'm still slightly disappointed that I'm like, I want fangs and I want like
Yeah.
something else. Like any vampire movie that doesn't really do that, I'm like, well, okay, they're kind of just cannibals, but
Yeah.
whatever. They just drink blood. So I don't know, what do you guys think of like if we look at it that way of the vampires, is it's like a virus, is their change a little more easy to digest
I see what you did
instead of, you know, if it was like traditional vampire?
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, for the virus, that it seems like a more physical kind of transference between these, from like Vanessa or any
Well, then it's
vampire.
it's the spit when she bites him. It's still
Could
like
be
a
intravenously.
yeah
Yeah,
I mean,
exchanging fluids.
this is maybe
So
just
viral?
me.
Yeah, it is
in the
viral.
blood or saliva.
Yeah. This is maybe just me.
Yes.
But it all seems like a little bit of like, it's a virus. I'm
Sure.
like, no, it's not. It's vampirism. Like you're turning. No, you're just saying magic.
But do they have anything? Because that's the other thing. Like we don't know if this is a world where like, you know, magic is its like own separate thing.
Right.
But can be involved with vampires. Of
Yeah.
like, are we gonna go with like it's literally a virus?
I think
or,
we
like,
just
more
I think we just
magical?
buy into this idea of it being a virus because we're so inundated with these zombie things where it's always
Sure.
a virus.
Well-
So we're like, oh yeah, chomping virus. That all makes sense to me.
But
so
now-
to me, it just seems like Hollywoodism.
I don't know, but now that we have the doc back,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doc
she can
gets
illuminate.
turned back into human. She
Right.
could probably analyze
what to
blood
do.
samples.
Ooh, maybe she can talk about it.
Yeah,
It's kind of
Oh,
she
I
like
can
hope so.
analyze blood samples
hope
and be
so.
like, it is a virus or it's a physical thing.
Yeah.
yeah, because it almost has a Resident Evil-y thing, like because that's a similar way of monsters.
Sure.
Yeah, I like when I was trying to, recommend this to other people. I said it's a mix of Walking Dead and Resident Evil because it is.
It
Yeah,
is.
it really is.
I can see that.
But yeah, well, let's talk about the Doc since we brought her up. Doc finally turning back into
Yes.
Finally.
Good.
Fun song.
Last
That took a
thing
while.
that happened.
human. But what do you think of how it went about? Vanessa actually going physically into the
trying to
cage.
force her head
I'm like,
onto the arm.
Vanessa, maybe you could have done the whole intravenously blood flow like Axel has been doing and feeding her the whole time.
Yeah.
You didn't have to physically get into the cage, but
Yeah.
we see her, she actually bites her.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes with your theory, Carrie. Does it have to be a bite-to-bite transfer just so they can turn back? I don't know.
Well, there's a moment when there's a couple of moments when Vanessa's like by the cage, and I was waiting for her to like literally be a bad like person at the zoo of like, let me stick my fingers in the cage, and I was waiting for that to happen.
Yes.
So that was like, because it looked like she was thinking about going, hey, maybe my blood does something, and like
Right.
wanted to test it, but then nothing happened. So
that
it's
was
just
the
like,
moment where she asked her.
yeah,
she
I
asked
would
her
have
a
wanted
question.
something to happen then.
Yeah.
And then when she goes in the
Ditto.
cage, that moment was a weird moment that I almost thought she was part vampire or something, because she's like, here, like I liked her, like I don't know what here.
Yeah, that
it's
was
a
her, like,
thing.
her like
Yeah.
awkward arm
Yeah.
off her.
And
great.
then she's just like, here, you know you want it, and then she doesn't. But it almost looked like her eyes changed, or her personality in that moment switched to super aggro, Vanessa.
Yeah.
And then she
And
did
she
the bite,
bit her, yeah.
and then after she kind of went, oh my gosh, that was crazy that I did it, and just sat there. And so I was like, maybe there's something else in her that can switch, you know?
Like
There's
a different
something else.
personality.
Yeah, or
Sure.
just part of whatever it is can like take over a little bit. And then I thought it was weird that she had all the blood and didn't even think to
I know,
like
wipe it. Ew.
I was like, ugh, you know, afterwards, because she
thought
had
the
that
same
like,
thing.
ew.
Or secretly, she just like really liked it, and she's like, let me just like hold on to this for a second.
Someone in the chat said maybe Vanessa is an anti-vampire. Mm-hmm. So it's the same idea as vampire, but we turn you back.
Do the opposite.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
she kind of is. She's the antithesis of what a vampire is.
I mean, in the original like Dracula story, Van Helsing is just a guy, right? He's just like a dude who's just like, I'm gonna kill vampires because I'm not a fan.
Yep.
Pretty much.
yeah.
Okay.
And he was
So-
resourceful.
He's a scholared
And then-
man who researched and
educated.
actually believed in it.
And then
Yes,
in
he's an educated
2003, or 2003, 2004, in Hugh Jackman's
Hugh
Van
Jackman.
Helsing. Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing.
Gabriel.
Hugh Jackman is Gabriel, the angel,
Yes.
the like right hand of God or left hand
Left hand of God.
Left
Right hand of God
God.
is Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Less
I
creature.
don't look at God's hands often. So is Vanessa in some way related to God? We don't know. Could be.
I don't know.
Maybe
They
she
haven't
has.
done religion at
maybe they're
all in the
God
show
bites.
yet, have they?
Well,
No.
you do have Flesh reading the Bible. There was a scene here where Flesh is like sitting there reading, and he's reading the Bible.
Okay, so
So I
subtle.
thought that was I thought that was actually a very interesting, like, I think Flesh is one of the most interesting characters so far in this episode. I didn't mind the slow moments with him because I felt like he has so much to think about. And we got that weird moment in the beginning of his turning and the horrible things that he did to his family, to his children. So,
Well, of course, religion and the Bible would be fascinating to him if you were normal. Became this, like, essentially a demon
Yeah.
to your perspective, and then changed again.
yeah, and he mentions,
And he remembers it.
right.
That was
Remembers,
the,
yeah.
ooh, that sucks.
And he mentions that they don't have
don't
guilt.
feel.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't have guilt during that
Yeah.
time. Like it's just passion and madness.
The remorse, human remorse, which I found actually very fascinating, which reminded me of Buffy for all
Yeah.
you Buffy fans like myself.
See, they had fangs at least.
They did.
I mean,
they did.
come on.
But when they were injected with souls, that they finally had the human remorse back for all the people that they killed, and I felt like it was the same way with these. Like once they turn back and they have their memories and they remember what happens, they do feel bad. Because we even see Flesh. He's like, I killed my own family.
Yeah.
Literally the first 5 minutes I was a vampire.
Yeah, they're like,
Terrible person.
he's like, I don't know
Ooh,
if you
just his
deserve to
kids.
die. Yeah.
Only.
Yeah, his kids.
But you
Well,
left
those are
your
the two
wife
he
with that.
remembers about.
But he killed his family.
Yeah. No, that definitely would.
He tore his family apart, literally.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
It's a pun night. Woohoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
I
just
think
really
it was
quick, while we're
interesting.
talking about ripping things apart in the beginning, when there's a lot of ripping things apart, those sound effects are a lot. Just throwing that out there. Those sound effects are super gross.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In the
Only
beginning,
thing- I like
you turned up the sound in the beginning, and I was like, no! Oh God! I can hear them like
Oh, I'm sorry, that was
splorching.
the master one, because I'm like, I can't hear enough.
Yeah, it's okay.
But only
I'll just be scarred forever now.
I still think the sound effects are a little weird.
Yes.
But the thing that in this episode that I was like, so certain key sound effects a lot of movies and shows incorporate. This one
Schmovies,
had yes, schmoozies, movies and shows incorporate. Is this one had like cue generic scream
Stock
sounds,
screams.
stock
Yeah,
scream.
they were
I'm
like
like,
Halloween screams. Yeah.
So I was not a fan of
At
that.
least we didn't have the Wilhelm scream.
Well, you guys, they're gonna reveal in
Because
the next
doors,
episode,
I
though.
hate door sounds.
In the
It's
next
all
episode,
the same
we'll
door.
find out that this is all just a haunted house during Halloween.
Oh,
It's all
yeah.
it's all just one
That
of the
would
rooms.
be a cool haunted house. You got to go up the escalator and the different
Yeah,
areas.
it's actually several square
Okay.
blocks.
Yes,
It's terrifying.
Yes, but I do think like the cinematography for this show is amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
this was definitely a
The
very.
opening, there were a lot of shots where were really cool slow panning, but we get to see like the vastness of each room and just like the actual space. And then there was that one shot where we see when Flesh, I believe his name was actually Phil, because you saw his name tag, it said Phil, and he was
Oh,
a
yeah.
manager. But that once he originally turned and he killed like 4 guys in a row within like 10 seconds. That was a pretty cool shot, and we just see him like walking across the park turning everybody.
I have a question for you guys.
The hoodie guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Hoodie Guy that guy we see in the clip, Julius or whatever his name is? The guy that we see at the end of the episode who's like, we've got to go see Dimitri or whatever.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
But it could be.
It could be.
I don't think he was meant to
That
be
was
someone
Flesh.
special.
Okay. I didn't know if like, because I mean obviously Vampire Zero that starts this whole thing, that guy who in the beginning was like just
Patient
sucking the blood
Zero.
of junkies, yeah, exactly, right, needs to be somewhat important. I feel like he has to pay off somehow, right? Or is he just some guy? And they were just like, yeah, and there he goes. And there's the domino that made them all fall. I feel like he's got to be important in some way. Maybe if they destroy him, they destroy them all or something. I don't know. Or they turn him and everyone turns back, or one of those kind of like...
I just think she needs to go out and walk around and bite a lot of people or have a lot of people bite her.
A little bit of both.
That might get exhausting for her.
Oh,
Well, I wonder how far
so
she could
physically
get
exhausting.
before, like, she couldn't handle it. Because, like, they bit the throat and stuff, and she instantly was like, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, we know she can heal.
She
but
Wolverine heals,
We
yeah,
also learned
like
that the vampires can heal too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it has to be a headshot or a heart shot.
I do like that they said that, where he's like, okay, we need a headshot, heart, or chop their head
remember
off.
that.
Chop their head off.
So I was like, okay, thank you for establishing the rules. Because that's the other
We
thing
need
with
the rules.
Yeah.
any,
talked about it
whatever
last
you make
episode.
up, I don't care.
Yeah,
But give me
just
the rules
give me
and
the
follow
rules.
your rules.
Yeah.
Then it's all good.
This is how we properly kill them. Not a stick through the heart, not
Yeah.
a crucifix.
Yeah.
Headshot, hard shot,
Right.
or decapitation.
And
Right.
he's one of those people, nobody goes, why? He's just like, I know what works.
Trust
like,
me.
that's the kind of guy that
Trust
I've
you're
been
like,
doing
all
this
right,
for
sounds
3
good.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust the Marine with the gun.
Trust
I
him.
believe him. Yeah, pretty interesting because we also see Flashy talks to those vampires /
Yes,
the
that was
feeders and
interesting.
ferals, and they go back to Dimitri. Or no, they actually go back to the guy who's like, we gotta tell Dimitri.
I think his name is Julius.
Julius.
I think I read Julius.
I think so.
Yeah. Internet, tell us if we're wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Julius.
Yeah. I just have in my notes vampires go back to the leader, who is not Dimitri.
Yeah.
Right.
Parentheses. Who's
No,
He's
they gotta
kind
go
of,
talk
maybe
to
he's the local.
he's
and
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like the
Yeah.
local guy.
he's not the state. Yeah, it's like,
No,
Yeah, that's what I
he's
also
the mayor.
have.
He's not the governor.
I was like,
Yeah.
they're close. They're close enough for those vampires to go back within a day and
Yeah.
to like
give the news.
the mayor and not go to the city hall. Or, yeah,
Or the
he's like-
vampire president.
Yeah.
Well, eventually, guys, we're gonna get to this vampire president.
Yeah.
It's a bureaucratic system.
I really
Yeah.
hope that when we get there, it's just like a guy in a suit, and he's like, yeah, oh no, I'm the vampire president. And it just looks like a normal president.
The vampires we saw before that were kind of like the elite, they were well dressed.
Yeah, I mean,
They were.
what's her name was kind of in a cat suit, so I mean, if you want to call that well dressed, I'm like, I'll call it well dressed.
She's not in rags.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
in comparison.
Very true. She just looked like what's her name from Rocky and Bullwinkle, the female Russian agent.
Yes, Vanessa?
Natasha.
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 Yeah. Natasha.
Yes.
I am vampire. Also, look at this. I'm just like, all right.
I think they'll pose a bigger threat in the future.
Yes. Yes.
Because they're part of the
Got it. No, the
they're
vampires.
part of the elites.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those two.
Yeah.
'Cause they're
all
part
of
of
it.
her.
It's all gonna be trouble, you guys.
Anything else about this episode? I don't think John's gonna live long.
I hope not.
Because an
No.
a-hole like him doesn't live long in
No.
a world like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was terrible. What throw her down the chute?
Yeah, that was
Her
brutal.
being, he's like, oh,
So-
what a dick.
The group here, the group of humans, is continually a problem for me. I only really like deaf guy, who's
And the
great,
black guy with
and the
him.
little kid, yeah,
Yeah.
The boy wonder, who is wonderful and
Yes.
just so
Those
sweet.
two.
That moment where he's like, oh, like she could have survived, I did.
Yeah.
I'm basically Robin from like Teen Titans, and you can totally trust me. I'm a leader. I love him so much.
Because they're the only ones that are kind of reasonable. Like the
Yeah.
others are just like, they have no room for flexibility. Like Hoodie Girl or Beanie Girl.
Beanie Girl.
Yeah.
I feel so badly.
What
for
did you
her.
say to her? I'm like,
Why do you care?
yeah.
Because she's so
You're
scared.
one of them.
I mean,
But I do like that when the doc like did the fence
Yeah.
and she laughed.
she laughed. She's like,
I saw me too.
I'm scared, Beanie Girl. No,
I
see, but
would
here's
love
the
to.
one thing about
The
Beanie Girl.
civilians don't add in.
Episode
Ugh,
1,
yeah.
Beanie Girl's like friend or sister or whatever, her like traveling companion,
Mm-hmm.
clearly got like bit or like almost turned or whatever.
Yeah.
And so she beat her to death, right?
Yeah.
So I want to say that she is in intense trauma. And then at the end of that episode, they're like, oh, by the way, there's this woman that like when vampires bite her, they turn back. It's like, you couldn't have told me that before I beat my like loved one to death. I hate this place so much. So that's where I feel like she probably is at. That's where I would be at, because that's messed.
I just
I mean,
hope
yeah, sure, she couldn't have possibly known, but still, that is intensely
Yes.
frustrating retrospect.
I just want the human team to add more to it, like the
Yeah.
civilians.
Yeah, they
you
just-
know,
Yeah.
you
Instead of just being annoying.
And like specific kinds of tension. It's just like, ooh, I'm the one. John is his name, the one guy.
John.
The a-hole?
The
The
a-hole.
a-hole. Yeah, he's just like, I'm mad and I need my wife, and now that problem is gone, and so he's just gonna be kind of like generally angry at Marine guy, at Axel.
He should take his anger and frustration towards the vampires.
Right?
Like,
What
use
if-
it for,
yeah.
use that ingenuity
Yeah.
for something productive.
Go Vanessa bringing the body back. And it was interesting.
Yeah.
That was so sweet.
I
You
liked
should put it
her.
on a nice clean bed.
I know. I thought, like, why
She
the
did,
clean bed?
she did put it on a clean bed.
I was like,
Come on,
"Aw,
Vanessa.
that
You
pillow
think we have
looks so
water to
comfy."
do laundry, Vanessa? Come on.
Yeah.
We take showers and shifts.
But it's like, I'll give it to Vanessa. She was nice enough to...
Hopefully that won some brownie points.
Right.
Yeah.
Where they might be like, all right, you're not so bad.
Yeah, that's the. I feel like
the
that's the
human
like
nature.
where they have the line they have to walk is like Axel is just gonna like do his thing, but then Vanessa, if she can get some of those people on her side, then that'll be helpful.
Yes.
That'll be better.
Yes. Anything else about this episode? Do you think Vanessa's going to eventually just maybe get tired of people always going to use her?
I mean, she basically
use-
started there this episode.
But
where she's
her
like,
conversation towards Flesh is like, I'm
no one's answer.
I don't need you
yeah.
pushing me at the people like I'm some savior or destroyer.
But it's one of those you can't honestly know that you could cure
the world
stuff
Yeah.
and not do something about it. It's like you find out now, like, I could cure cancer, but I'm going to do nothing about
right.
it.
I gotta
You're
find
like,
my
"You
daughter
can't?
first.
You can't do that. It's like,
It's like that's great. That's great about your daughter, but could you please like cure cancer
Yeah.
before you like?
Yeah.
You can totally find your daughter, but can you cure cancer first?
yeah, can we, like, work on that?
Do you
That's,
think Dylan's alive?
Yeah, I still
yeah.
do.
Oh yeah, I absolutely think she's alive.
I think
But
she-
maybe it'll be some crazy reveal later that she's like a hierarchy vampire.
That's what I'm kind of thinking too. Is that she might be an elite?
I like your face. You're like,
after 3 years.
I mean,
maybe.
if she
I don't
if
know.
she isn't, if she doesn't have the same stuff that her mom has, where biting her like turns
Yeah.
them, then I think that she is like some high tier vampire, and she's either a high tier vampire or like a badass like freedom fighter, and she has one of the last bastions of humanity hold out somewhere in another
Yes.
mall or something.
So if Dylan is a hierarchy vampire and Vanessa had to face her, what do you think that would do? What do you think would happen? Would Vanessa kill her own daughter? Or turn her back?
Well, she would
Turn
try
her
to
back.
turn her
She'd
back.
try to turn
but
her back.
that's the question: is would it work on her because
Yeah,
she
would
already
it work?
has some of her own blood in her and stuff?
ooh,
Interesting.
good question.
Interesting.
Now, do you guys? Someone asked, and someone said in the chat too. Except for the deaf guy and Boy Wonder, I don't trust anyone in that
Yeah,
group.
absolutely. I
Trust
agree.
Axel.
I agree.
Well, yes, I
Yeah.
trust him.
Yeah, he's
That's
by
our-
the book though, so he would,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He would leave people behind. He's not necessarily above like the kind of doing the right thing, but like leaving someone. I don't know.
But I
feel like
trust him.
I trust him
more than
too.
like the other people where I'm like, I don't trust you guys at all. Like, they don't seem trustworthy or willing
Right.
to help anyone else.
I guess
Other
is it-
than themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I guess if the question is, do I trust him? Like, can I go to bed and like have him like standing over there? Like, yeah, that's fine. But do I trust him to like do the right thing? Like, I don't know, man. He's a Marine. He's pretty by the book. Like, I do trust him to do certain things right. But like, if I have, you know what I mean? Like, if that was me as John, like, and I was like, dude, help me freaking save my wife. You have guns and stuff, right? And he was like, no, man, nothing I can do. 3 years at this. Sorry. I'd be like, please, because I would. Can I ask nicer?
He's extremely practical. Like, there's no optimism.
He's the Spock.
He's the realism, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't fault him for that, though.
No,
It's
you
like,
can't.
well, okay, you're right.
But you have to acknowledge that about him, is that he
Yeah.
will usually do what
Yes.
by the book is right. So
Yeah, he'll do what is
what is
right.
not emotionally
I'm not worried
charged,
about him. I'm more worried about what
logically.
John can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm worried
You
about
give him a gun
yeah.
or a knife, he could literally turn on you.
And
Yeah.
I'm just worried about like one of these nights.
Ooh, what if he becomes a vampire and then is a problem for the group?
I hope
'cause
he
he
becomes
knows
a
the
vampire
ins and
because we
outs.
have a reason to shoot him.
Yeah.
True.
Get him out of the story.
They just cut off his head and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
he turned into a
Done.
vampire last night. Did he? No vampires got in. I know, it's the weirdest thing. But yeah, who threw him down the thing?
But all right, so I think that leads us to predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
Ooh, punch your mic
All
there.
right, so
Oh, yeah.
I think
It's like
John's
table
gonna
drumming?
die.
yeah.
I think John's gonna
John's
die.
gonna die?
In some way.
Yeah.
If he turns a vampire and then they shoot him, I'm all for it. But I don't think his character is so not likable, and he doesn't really have a story to last long on this show. Only because he got his wife back. What else does he have to offer?
Right. His wife
Unless
is a
he does a
corpse.
complete 180
Unless
and
he, like,
realizes,
be
like,
like, sorry,
oh,
I was a
man,
dick.
I was a douchebag. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. How can I help the group?
I'll help
The
you.
only thing left I have
Maybe.
to fight for is humanity. Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
I want to kill all vampires because they were the ones who killed my wife.
Maybe.
He might do
Yeah.
that. That
Oh,
is a possibility.
That's interesting
that.
because
That's
that could
more
really muck
positive.
up their plans later too. Like, yeah, that's interesting. I like that idea.
Maybe. Okay.
Like it.
What do you think?
I think I agree. He's gonna die in some fashion. Probably become a vampire. Maybe betray them in some fashion. I think because he knows kind of like the area they're in, that hospital. Maybe he's gonna be like tactically important to the vampires later on.
Or if he turns vampire, he goes. He's the one that goes to Dimitri, be like, I know exactly where she is.
Right.
Yeah.
I can bring her to you.
Exactly.
I hope the doc reveals what it is better and they get into explaining, because now we have a doctor.
Now we got the
Who
doc.
can communicate.
Science on our side.
Yes.
And we can get her sister. Also, who is more involved with what's happening and has more information. Yes.
I think,
And then, I hope I do hope the Axel and the doctor relationship will continue.
I mean, I've been hoping for it this whole time. They seem so cute. I'm just so ready for them.
Because he was like, no, don't die on me. Like, come on, hang in there. Like, he was so determined of like, no, I don't want to lose you.
Yeah, that was a
It was
sweet
sweet.
moment.
'Cause
that I
I
feel
feel-
like happens
Yeah,
a
he's
lot
like,
in
come on, baby.
shows.
Come on, stay with me, baby.
I mean, Axel and Vanessa totally have potential for sure. But they don't really seem
Yes,
to
I
have
know.
like you're an attractive and cool human
Sexual
being.
tension?
Right.
But I don't feel anything for you. Like, that's what it kind of feels like right now. Of like, I acknowledge you're cool, but I don't.
I feel
not
like
a thing.
they
not
have
vibing.
basically like a Benson and Stabler from SVU thing where they're like, my awesome recognizes your awesome. Let's go kick some butt together.
Yeah.
But I don't need this to go to the bedroom.
Yes, that's what I'm kind of getting on their vibe. So I hope they don't kind of fall back on that.
I mean,
they might, but
I feel like they're setting up for a love triangle later on. For him to be like, oh, I'm not sure. This woman kicks so much butt and I'm destined to protect her. But this woman is the one I actually love because she's rad and scientifically inclined.
yes.
And I helped keep her alive for 3 years.
For 3 years with my own blood. So
Yes.
she's a part of me, literally.
Yeah, I mean, her blood is pretty much it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything
well,
else from you?
in her stomach, I don't know. Did they absorb the blood into their systems?
Yeah,
That's a
we
good
don't
question.
know that. That's a good sciencey question.
Yeah. Maybe
don't
she
think
can
they
The
answer.
ever-
doctor can
Maybe
answer
she
all
can
of
answer.
these.
Yeah, they never really get into that with vampires of like, okay,
Yeah.
you drink the blood, and where does it go?
Yeah. Do they just pee blood later? Like, is that just, you
feed
know what I
some.
mean?
There's
mean-
I've seen it. I like it when have you guys seen it in movies where they cry blood?
Yes,
Like
I
once
have.
in a while, a vampire will cry blood, and you're like,
Right.
that's kind of cool.
Because their fluids are blood.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Or if you're going under the underworld theories, it actually pumps their organs and stuff and keeps them alive.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
that's a good one too.
Okay.
Love underworld.
okay.
That's
I like
another.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, see, they have fangs,
Yeah,
Yes.
they do. They
True,
do.
true, true.
But they
and their
do-
skin and
they
their eyes
hiss.
change.
Yeah, but they
They do
hiss
hiss,
too.
but it's a little more like cat-like, rather than like
Rattlesnake.
snarl.
They have the same amount of leather,
Animal.
though. There's about the same amount of leather.
But hey, they're
No,
still sexy.
way more
Yeah.
leather.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh, okay.
They're still sexy.
Yes.
A lot of leather in this one, too.
Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. In the meantime, where can everyone keep following you?
Keep following us, you guys, on the Twitter at Andrew Mena and on Instagram at the Andrew Mena if you want.
And you guys can find me online at Kari Lane. That's KaridLane.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. You can follow all of us here on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those fun social media platforms at AfterBuzz TV. Keep rating, keep commenting, keep tuning in every single week. We have special guests lined up for the show. Very excited. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We will see you next time.
Pow.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.